So, loot Arabella. Give Arabella whatever weapon you want Arabella to wield. In this case, the Blooded Great Axe, which is a trap, and will trick you into dying in your game. I it I kind of wish that I had gotten the burning blade from the from the Nautiloid because she looks so funny holding the burning blade. Then you need one strength potion. You put the strength potion on the ground. You put Arabella on the ground. You perform surgery and bring her back to life. She's fine. She's fine. Arabella can drink the strength potion on the ground. And she has the Blooded Great Axe in her inventory. She looks great. This is what a healthy... See? Healthy. Perfectly fine, healthy child. This is what a healthy child looks like. She's fine. She's fine. Now, I'm not playing Expedition 33. I'm just leaving that up for now. I switched everything away from stream elements and over to sound alerts just because it would be easier to use sound alerts because it does everything all at once and I don't need to have a second or third bot just for like one different feature that otherwise it can do, but also because I believe it was Neuro Riot who mentioned that Stream Elements has some affiliation with the fake nation of Israel. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll stay away. So Arabella's not in combat. Arabella's fine. Now what would be even better is if I could take 1 point of damage. I would be able to activate the Blooded Great Axe, I think. Strong Arabella. Can I take exactly 1 point of damage? So Arabella is now a robot. And we're essentially going to use Arabella to clear out the Underdark for more experience. And so I think I'll keep playing the Parenti lecture while we do this. I think that's a good idea for like background noise and doing like 2 things at once. This is we're subway surfing with Arabella, right? Literally in the Underdark. Listening to some other audio at the same time as playing a video game. This is our subway surfers. Robot Arabella broken. Got it. Yeah. You can use Arabella to kill the Boulette. You can use Arabella to kill the Spectator. But I think we should have the spectator do something else. I think we should play a game with the spectator. But let's put the Parenti lecture back on, because I do like listening to it. It is a good one. I've been enjoying listening to it while I threw the dwarves into the pit.
He planted 40 million trees and started massive irrigation and ecological reclamation. These are some of the things that Gaddafi did, and that's a dangerous example to the Arab world. He took a bigger chunk of the oil revenues and reinvested them into the needs of his own people, and the per capita earnings of the Libyan people are the highest in the Arab world, the highest in the third world. You didn't hear that in the media, did you? You didn't hear that on Dan Rather's tonight. That's what's dangerous about Gaddafi. And the cue comes, and you know the cue when Reagan says Gaddafi is a tyrant over his own people, like the Sandinistas are tyrants over their people, like Allende was a tyrant over the Chilean people. The minute they start social reform, the minute they start tampering with our oil, our bananas, our sugar, our copper, our iron, our bauxite, why, they're tyrants. The second myth that's given to us is that these revolutionary governments are hostile to us. And that's why we oppose them. Right-wing dictatorships get along with us. They're friendly to us. Why is that, though? What is it about right-wing dictatorships that make them so friendly? What are they being so friendly about? What is the community of interest that they have? I'd already explained it, I believe. It's a common class interest. And the left-wing guys come in, but they're hostile to us. Well, that doesn't really seem to be true, though. The first thing these left-wing governments do when they come into power is ask for friendly diplomatic and economic relations with the U.S. Certainly that's what the Sandinistas did. They honored the debt that swindler Somoza ran up, and they asked for closer economic relations. That's what the Cubans want. Every socialist country, from a huge power like the Soviet Union to a small power like Vietnam or Cuba, to a mini-micro power like Grenada under the New Jewel movement, every single one of them asked for more trade, normal political, economic, and diplomatic relations with the United States. Not necessarily out of love, but because they saw it in their self-interest, because their interest was to develop their own economies and to have peace and security on their borders, to invest less in military defense. There was even an article on that in the New York Times in which Fidel Castro makes that point. We want to spend less on our military defense. It doesn't make sense to the Cubans. Why must they go 16,000 miles away to Japan to buy school buses? That's where the Cubans get them. They go 16,000 miles away when they could buy them right from Florida, 90 miles away. Why must they get their medical supplies from China and Czechoslovakia when they could get them from the U.S.? Cuba has the largest import tonnage cost of any country in the world because of the U.S. blockade, boycott. So it's very much in their interest to cultivate friendlier relations. There's a substantive thing there, much firmer than love. No one's claiming they love us. And love, after all, you know, is a volatile emotion. It comes and goes. Much firmer than love is self-interest, and therefore the basis for some kind of normal relations with those countries. No, my friends, it's really the Reagan administration that runs with terror whenever there's the first sign of friendliness from a socialist or revolutionary country. Reagan, as Tom Wicker said, in regards to the Soviet Union, for instance, in armaments, Reagan will not take yes for an answer. The final reason given is that we must contain the red tide. You heard that March speech by Ronald Reagan, vintage stuff, where he talked about a red tide lapping our border if we allowed Nicaragua to sustain the kind of government that its people have chosen in free and open elections. If we allow that, our own security is at risk. And you can see that superpower 60,000-man army of the Sandinistas cutting a swath up through Guatemala, Mexico, Texas, right up here into the heartland, right into Boulder, Colorado, dancing with your daughter and your sister. Do we want that? I hear they're good dances. The image of that tiny nation of 3 million being a threat to us, you know, reminds me of the Vietnam War. We used to hear that same stuff. We say, if we don't fight them in the jungles of Vietnam, we'll have to be fighting them on the shores of California. And Walter Lippmann said, the image of the Vietnamese getting into their little PT boats and coming across the Pacific and taking California is an insult to the U.S. Navy. It's very hard to convince the American people that they should send their sons, and maybe, who knows, someday even their daughters, to go fight and die in some jungle to make the world safe for United Fruit Company or Chase Manhattan or Procter & Gamble or ITT. So you say it's to stop the threat of that communist country. It's very hard to convince the American people that a tiny country like Nicaragua or Vietnam or El Salvador is a threat to U.S. security. So you say it's not Nicaragua. They're the puppets of the Cubans, who are the puppets of bum, 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 bum. The big red bear in the Kremlin. And yet again, as I just said, these countries continually want friendly overtures, continually want friendly relations, including the Soviet Union. What we hear also is that there's another pernicious element, and the thing we have to stop in these countries is a thing called communism, and that there are communists in these countries. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it's time we ask, what's a communist? What does a communist do that is so dangerous? They would have us believe that communists merely hunger for power rather than wanting the power to end hunger. They would have us believe, the New York Times, let me refer to an editorial where they describe the undesirable and offensive Managua regime. By the way, these countries don't have governments, they have regimes. You'll see that in the newspapers all the time. We have government. And I said to myself, what is undesirable and offensive about Managua? Is it the land reform program, where they took all that massive land owned by those few rich compradors and gave it out to the people who were starved for land? Is it the farm co-ops that they're setting up? Is it the community industries and the public work programs to create jobs for people who have been chronically unemployed? Is it the food program, a ration of beans and rice for every kid in Nicaragua so that nobody, no matter how poor that country is, they're all getting fed? Is it having the lowest infant mortality rate in Central America despite earthquake and civil war and foreign invasion and attack and embargo? Lower even than Costa Rica, which is supposed to be the big show place? What's so offensive about Managua? It is those things in some degree. It is creating a competing social order. It is people, it is those who have been downtrodden, it has been those who have been used as fodder in the capital accumulation process, now claiming back the process of production, claiming back their own land, claiming back their own flag, their own dignity, and saying this country is going to be for us and not for you anymore, gringo. And that's the communist program, and that's what communists are. I had somebody up in Vermont say, she got up, and she was one of those trust funders who works on peace a lot, and she said, oh, sorry there. She said, people are saying that the Salvadoran guerrillas are communists, but they're not communists. They're just ordinary peasants. So why are we fighting them? The implication being that if they were communists, it would be okay to go in and pulverize